La Rochefoucauld, directeur centre de profit de MCO.
Bonjour, Maxime Dubois, partenaire d'affaires ressources humaines, Target Canada.
Bonjour, Josiane Duguay, coordonnatrice santé, sécurité et formation chez Siemens Canada Limited.
MCO Corporation. Pendant les 100 dernières années, la corporation MCO s'est bâtie, a été fondée sur les 4 principes et les 4 valeurs qu'on voit ci-dessus. This includes generous listening, fairness and caring, trust and respect, as well as straight talk. Avec mes coéquipiers Ketan Patel, Maj Tétier et moi-même Christine Yang, nous allons vous présenter la recommandation que nous avons trouvée pour la situation courante de la corporation. Alors, j'ai fait l'introduction en français. Maintenant, le reste de la présentation va se faire en anglais, puis on va conclure en français aussi. Puis on va passer à la période de questions plus tard, comme nommé par l'indicateur, en anglais et en français aussi. Donc maintenant, je vais passer en anglais. So we're going to kick off the presentation with a quick overview of the current situation in which MCO Corporation finds itself. Then we'll go over the value proposition that, along with my teammates, we have come up with. And then we'll present to you our recommendation that is mostly going to be threefold. We're going to have a short-term solution, which is going to be fixing the leaks. We have a little play on words for you there. And then medium-term in terms of redirecting the flow of the efforts provided, as well as a long-term solution, which is really building the pipeline to success for MCO Corporation. We'll also walk you through our implementation before giving our key takeaways and proceeding with the question and answer period. So for the past 100 years, MCO Corporation has really proved itself to be an experienced industry leader within the industry, yeah. It has an extensive network of over 200 profit centers throughout the country, as well as acquisitions that operate under their original names in order to maintain the integrity of each entity by promoting its decentralization, so staying true to their logos, to their management locally as well. They have a manager development program, which takes about 3.5 to 5 years long, and provides the trainees with multiple mentors throughout the experience. The yield ratio in this situation is about 1 to 200, being that there is one qualified applicant out of every 200 applications that are received. So Maj will continue with our value proposition.
Thank you, Christine. So by the end of this presentation, you will be convinced that by focusing on improving retention efforts in the short term through flexible and manageable program phases, in addition to creating a dedicated team for the sole purpose of recruiting efforts while undertaking projects to strengthen the brand in the medium and long terms, MCO will be able to address recruitment and retention concerns while improving brand equity of applicants with minimal costs. So our recommendation comes to you in 2 broad aspects: improving the retention ratios, as well as improving the recruitment initiatives and the number of pool of applicants that are qualified. We believe that it's mostly important to focus on the retention issues because it's more cost effective. It's more cost effective to revamp something that's internal than to focus on the external aspects later on, which is why we've moved this to the medium and long-term plan of our focus. But for the short term, we'll be strengthening our retention ratios. So we've identified 3 key decision criteria, and they are to be cost-effective, the long-term feasibility of the project, and a project or a plan, a recommendation that embodies MCO's values. So all of them, as you notice, are extremely important because if they don't align with the values, then it's not something that MCO should take, because you don't want to deteriorate what your business is based on in your core values, which is why our recommendations align perfectly with MCO's existing values, as Christine mentioned. Secondly, for the long-term feasibility, we want something that you can scale and that you can improve on and that can become larger and larger as time goes on. And finally, cost-effective. We've identified several opportunities that only cost you a minimal cost, but also that have great impacts, and you'll see throughout our presentations what those are. And Ketan will proceed with our recommendation.
Thank you, Maj. So before we actually move on to the core of our presentation, let me walk you through our strategy in a broad sense. So we have a short-term, a medium-term, and a long-term goals. First, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at addressing the internal leaks. There are a lot of problems in terms of retention that we currently have. So it's important that we fix those leaks before we move on to the major recruitment aspects. That's going to be our medium-term strategy, tackling that recruitment and getting quality candidates to come to MCO and be valuable contributors. and long-term, improving that brand equity, improving the quality of the candidates that we receive, and ensuring that there's a pipeline to success. So first of all, we've identified two major issues that EMCO currently faces. There's a problem in retention and there's a problem in recruitment. In the retention regards, we have motivational issues. We have people that are leaving the organization in very short time, even though we've invested a lot of money in these individuals. There's an inability to utilize the full potential of our applicants. Because they're not staying on for the full breadth of the campaign that they've been trained for, we're not maximizing their utility and not maximizing the ability that they can bring to the organization. Finally, there could be an issue of conflicting values and objectives. Because these individuals are leaving, there could be reasons that these people are leaving, including the fact that the objectives that they may have career-wise or the values-wise is not aligning with what EMCO embodies and what EMCO is looking to have. And finally, there's a generational gap. We have individuals, managers in our profit centers that are older or more experienced. We also have a younger generation that's coming up and through. And that younger generation is leaving at a rapid rate. So we must address the kind of generation gap that exists between these two, older generation and the more experienced generation. The next problem that we have is recruitment. We have a lack of brand recognition. We're not getting the quality applications that we were looking for. As Christine mentioned, we have a yield ratio of 200 to 1. That means for every one successful application that we receive, that takes almost 200 resumes to read through. Secondly, there's an inconsistent brand image between EMCO and its acquisitions, which we'll address later. Finally, there's an information disconnect. Because EMCO is such a broad organization with such different brand names out there, there is a difficulty for young people looking to enter the workforce in terms of what exactly EMCO is, what it does, and what kind of opportunities exist at EMCO. So those are some of the main concerns that we want to address. As I mentioned, the first thing that we're going to focus on is retention. So as I mentioned, these are the issues at hand. So the motivational factors, the inability to utilize full potential, the conflicting values and objectives, as well as the generation gap. Our solution to this is readjusting the time frame that we currently have for our management development program. Currently, it's taking about 3.5 to 5 years. That's almost double what normal management programs usually take. As a result, a lot of people are leaving the program. A lot of the younger generation, Generation Y and the millennials, are looking to achieve something really quickly or want to be put in positions where they can actually be successful rather quickly. So it's important to reduce that time frame. We've suggested a time frame around half of that. So we're looking at a year and a half to 3 years, reducing each of the phases. So each phase, there's 5 phases in total, reducing that by half. We believe that because the generation is a lot hungrier, they're a lot more capable of actually achieving these objectives in a shorter period of time. Finally, a concern that we had was the multiple mentors that you have. So we counted almost 6 total mentors in the program throughout the 5 phases. We believe that's a great aspect. Mentorship is incredible. It's an incredible opportunity to ensure that your applicants are getting the quality that they deserve from the management team. One key change that we'd make to the mentorship program is changing the mentor from the coach. So a lot of this is the informal mentor that we receive that